there, I'm Katy Churchill, cam girl, fetish filmmaker, phone sex operator, general sex worker. I'm a sex worker. Let's just get it right out there. If that's a problem for you, bye. Otherwise, stick around and listen to another awkward sex story. Standard disclaimer, names, places, blah, 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 blah have been changed. If you recognize the person in this story, please do not share it in the comments below because that's just awkward and rude. If you recognize yourself in this story, congratulations! We once had awkward sex. Actually, in this case, we had terrible sex. But you definitely already knew that from the events that we shall cover. This happened while I was in university, about 10 years ago. I think I was roughly 20. And it was embarrassing. For me. For a lot of reasons. So when I was in university, I had a good friend who used to have all these parties. And I was slightly more pro-party than I am now. Now I'm pretty much anti-party. If it's a sporting event related party, I'm down for it. But other than that, I'm just not a loud music standing around with a drink talking to people kind of party person. I generally try to find the dog and hang out with the dog, maybe in the backyard if at all possible, where it's less loud, there are fewer sweaty people, etc. So I went to my friend's house for a party, who had a dog, conveniently, and I was hanging out in the backyard with the dog because, again, loud music. I don't mind lots of people drinking. I am very fond of beer myself, but lots of people drinking really sweet punch made with really cheap booze and sweaty. You know when you get so many people in this case a little townhouse and they're all really just, it starts to make people sweat and smell bad? I don't know if that was like a university party thing or what, but it seemed common enough that I legitimately had an issue with it. So I was hanging out in the backyard with the dog, and somebody else came out. I was like, oh no, now I'm gonna have to socialize. But they were also looking for the dog and a place to get away from everyone. So we chatted, and it turned out we had a couple friends in common, like the person giving the party, but you know, we had a couple things in common, and I wasn't having very much fun, and he wasn't having very much fun. And we were just down the street from a 24-hour sushi place, which was like halfway between his place and the party. Now, in fairness, I had been drinking at this party. So I was pretty tipsy. I wasn't like blackout drunk. I wasn't even really make bad decisions drunk. So we went to the 24-hour sushi place. Now, here admittedly is where my memory gets slightly foggy. I actually went back into my journals from university. I have journals from grade 11 to now, and sometimes I go back to figure out when things happened or double check if it was the same person or whatever for these stories. A lot of research goes into this. I don't just sit down and start talking, y'all. I have a list of things that I vaguely remember, and then I go back for details, or I talk to friends who knew the story or know the story or are likely to have heard the story, and I assemble all of the pieces. It's like science. It's actually not like science at all. It's not like science. But I actually do some research to make sure I'm not just talking out my asshole here. Okay? Talking out your ass is the phrase, not asshole. Moving on. I actually had to go back in my journal because here's what I remember. We got kicked out of the sushi place for no good reason. That was what I remembered. According to my journal, which was written the next day. This is so fucking embarrassing. What I had been doing, it was an all-you-can-eat sushi place, right? So we sat down and we got lots of sushi. And I guess round 2 or whatever, because I said we were waiting for our food, but we'd already definitely eaten by this point. According to my journal, what I was doing was the Nelly Furtado song Promiscuous Girl started playing in the sushi place. And I started giving him a lap dance. And this upset other diners, at whom one of us may have sworn. Even in the journal, I'm not too sure who told them to take the stick out of their ass and leave us alone. But we were asked to leave the sushi place. It is so much more embarrassing realizing that we didn't just get kicked out for nothing. But in the interest of truth, I feel like you need to know my behavior was inappropriate and we were kicked out for good reason. But I remember being really excited because they didn't even make us pay. They just made us leave. Anyway, he was reasonably good looking. And he said, why don't we go back to my place? And I was like, okay. So we went to his place. So, you know, we hang out. I think we watched I feel like we watched Kill Bill, but I have absolutely no reason to believe that. It was not mentioned in my journal. But I feel like we watched Kill Bill, and we started kind of fooling around on the couch, and he was like, my roommate will feel really awkward when he comes home, because his roommate worked at a restaurant and would be coming home soon. And he was like, my roommate, will, like, we kind of have a rule, like, no naughtiness on the couch. So he went into his room, and I crawled seductively across the bed, but like with my back to him, and when I kind of like rolled over and turned around, he had his pants down. It was really small. Like, really, really small. And, which, you know, is fine. One day we'll have a discussion about size on here. Video coming soon about size. But I mean, like, it was like really, really small. So I thought, it's fine. It's fine. Lots of guys who are really small rescue it with the foreplay and everything's fine. Everybody comes, everybody's happy, etc. No, he had zero, like, I tried to kind of play it off like, let's 69, like, I'll blow you, la 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 la. No, he was having none of it. He was like, I like to get right to the main event. If you have to tell someone that you want to get right to the main event, they're giving you a lot of signals that you should not skip the introductory steps. Just saying. Anyway, so we got right to the main event. It was good old-fashioned missionary, and he didn't get it in, okay? He was essentially fucking the crease between my thigh and my outer pussy lip. And I said, is it in yet? And he said, I'm about to come. And he came on my leg. And it's not like I laid there for 10 minutes waiting for him to get it in. Like, also, before you're like, he came on your leg, what about a condom is safe sex? He had put one on. I helped him put it on. But when he came on my leg, he no longer was wearing one. So, like, I have a lot of questions, including, 1, did he remove it, or did it break, or what? 2, if he removed it, and he thought he was in me, what the actual fuck? And 3, again, what the actual fuck? So, like, I mean, there were a number of issues with this. Number 1 being, he legit thought he was inside me, which is weird. Because when I was like, you just came on my leg, he was like, no, I didn't. And then he looked and was like, what the fuck? And I was like, at no point did anything enter me. And you might be like, oh, but it was really small, so you wouldn't notice. You can tell, okay? You can tell. It doesn't matter how small it is. If you put a friggin' golf pencil in there, I would know. But he thought he was in there. Had at some point taken off a condom that I had put on him. And yeah, anyway, it was just like 10 different kinds of awkward. I was like... So I walked naked to the bathroom and was like cleaning up, at which point his roommate walked in the bathroom and was like, what are you doing? And I was like, wiping cum off my leg. And his roommate just went, okay. And grabbed a can of deodorant, sprayed his underarms, and walked out. And I was like... That's my kind of roommate relationship, to be honest. But yeah, so that happened. God, it sounds so fucking depressing saying it out loud. Anyway, I got dressed and left. And we'd exchanged numbers before we went to the sushi place because I thought maybe I was going to leave with some of my friends. And I was like, why don't I give you my number? He never called me. And I never got in touch with my friend to then get in touch with him because, again, he was confused enough that he thought my leg was somehow a bodily orifice. And 2, a condom disappeared. I'm never okay with that situation. I've had broken condom situations twice, which seems to me to be a weird number of times. But don't buy condoms from gas station vending machines, just saying. And actually both condom situations were from bathroom vending machines, so just don't do it. But yeah, the full-on disappearance of one. But I was, like, it was one of those things where I was just so alarmed by the whole leg situation that I was like, we don't even need to address the disappearance of the condom because right now... What? Anyway, it was very strange. It was very awkward. Yeah. I have so many questions that in hindsight I wish I'd asked. Is this your first time? Why are you humping my leg? Is 3 minutes kind of standard for you? And what the fuck happened to the condom? But that's all she wrote for right now. I will plumb the depths of my journals again. Actually, I still think I have about 6 times on the list. I'll try to go out and have more awkward sex so I can, like, fill you in on more. But we have about 6 left on the list every other week. That's what, 3 months left? Tons of time for me to go have more awkward sex. Like, comment, subscribe, all those YouTuber things. Catch you later. Why did I just do that? I'm not good enough at video editing to make that look cool, so... Whatever. Bye.